أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصافات صفا فالزاجرات زجرا فالتاليات ذكرا إن إلهكم لواحد رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما ورب المشارق إنا زينا السماء الدنيا بزينة الكواكب وحفظا من كل شيطان مارد لا يسمعون إلى الملأ الأعلى ويقذفون من كل جانب دحورا ولهم عذاب واصب إلا من خطف الخطفة فأتبعه شهاب ثاقب فاستفتهم أهم أشد خلقا أم من خلقنا فاستفتهم أهم أشد خلقا أم من خلقنا إنا خلقناهم من طين لازب بل عجبت ويسخرون وإذا ذكروا لا يذكرون وإذا رأوا آية يستسخرون وقالوا إن هذا إلا سحر مبين أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما أإنا لمبعوثون أوآباؤنا الأولون قل نعم وأنتم داخرون فإنما هي زجرة واحدة فإذا هم ينظرون وقالوا يا ويلنا هذا يوم الفصل الذي كنتم به تكذبون احشروا الذين ظلموا وأزواجهم وما كانوا يعبدون من دون الله فاهدوهم إلى صراط الجحيم وقفوهم إنهم مسؤولون ما لكم لا تناصرون بل هم اليوم مستسلمون وأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون قالوا إنكم كنتم تأتوننا عن اليمين قالوا بل لم تكونوا مؤمنين وما كان لنا عليكم من سلطان بل كنتم قوما طاغين فحق علينا قول ربنا إنا لذائقون فأغويناكم إنا كنا غاوين فإنهم يومئذ في العذاب مشتركون إنا كذلك نفعل بالمجرمين إنهم كانوا إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون ويقولون أئنا لتاركو آلهتنا لشاعر مجنون بل جاء بالحق وصدق المرسلين إنكم لذائق العذاب الأليم إنكم لذائق العذاب الأليم إنكم لذائق العذاب الأليم وما تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إلا عباد الله المخلصين أولئك لهم رزق معلوم أولئك لهم رزق معلوم فواكه وهم مكرمون في جنات النعيم على سرر متقابلين يطاف عليهم بكأس من معين بيضاء لذة للشاربين لا فيها غول ولا هم عنها ينزفون وعندهم قاصرات الطرف عين كأنهن بيض مكنون فأقبل بعضهم على بعض يتساءلون قال قائل منهم إني كان لي قرين يقول أئنك لمن المصدقين أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما أئنا لمدينون قال هل أنتم مطلعون فاطلع فرآه في سواء الجحيم قال تالله إن كدت لتردين ولولا نعمة ربي لكنت من المحضرين أفما نحن بميتين إلا موتتنا الأولى وما نحن بمعذبين إن هذا لهو الفوز العظيم لمثل هذا فليعمل العاملون أذلك خير نزلا أم شجرة الزقوم إنا جعلناها فتنة للظالمين إنها شجرة تخرج في أصل الجحيم طلعها كأنه رؤوس الشياطين صدق الله العظيم. One moment please. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، له النعمة وله الفضل وله الثناء الحسن، صلوات الله البر الرحيم والملائكة المقربين على سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد الصادق الوعد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك الكريم. لله تعالى. Have the good intention. Make sure you're in this session for the sake of Allah. صححوا النيات لله تبارك وتعالى. وكن في هذا المجلس لله تبارك وتعالى. نكمل إن شاء الله تعالى الكلام في علم الحال. We will continue إن شاء الله تعالى going over the immediate knowledge. إلا أنني أريد أن أعيد شيئا. However, I want to repeat something. وصلنا إلى باب الطهارة. We reached the chapter of purification. لكنني كنت متعبا في الحصة الماضية. But I was tired in the last session. كيف طلع الكلام معي? I don't know how well the information was coming out of me, ما شاء الله. فأحببت أن أعيد هذا الفصل قبل باب الطهارة. So I want to repeat this section before the chapter of purification, inshallah. ثم نكمل من هناك. And then we'll continue from there. فقال المؤلف رحمه الله فصل. The author, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, section. ويبطل بالردة الصوم. Fasting is invalidated by apostasy. ويجب, apostasy, if anyone's not, just listening for the first time, for example, apostasy is when the person goes out of Islam and a Muslim. He becomes a kafir after he was a Muslim. الردة قطع الإسلام يعني هو أن يخرج الإنسان من الإسلام فيصير كافرا بعد أن كان مؤمنا بعد أن كان مسلما. ويبطل بالردة الصوم. So fasting is invalidated by apostasy. ويجب عليه الرجوع فورا إلى الإسلام. It is obligatory on the person to immediately come back to Islam. والإمساك باقي النهار عن المفطرات وعن المفطرات والمفطرات وقضاء هذا اليوم فورا بعد العيد. And it's obligatory on the person to refrain from anything that invalidates the fast for the rest of the daytime, and for him to make up that day that he invalidated by his fasting after the Eid. هذا إذا كان في رمضان. This is, okay, it says now, just to give you extra information, هذا إذا كان في رمضان. That's if the person was committed apostasy in Ramadan. يجب عليه أن يمسك. It's obligatory on him to continue to refrain during the daytime. ويجب عليه أن يقضي هذا اليوم. And it's obligatory on him to make that day up. والإمساك بعد ردته لحرمة الوقت. his refraining from whatever would invalidate fasting after he commits apostasy is for honoring the time, because it's Ramadan. It would be Ramadan. So as to honor the time. يعني هذا الإنسان أفسد صومه. This person invalidated his fasting. He spoiled it. He corrupted his fasting. لا يصح. It's not valid. فلماذا لا يجوز له أن يأكل بعد أن يعود إلى الإسلام? Then how come it's not permissible for him to eat after he comes back to Islam? فإنه إذا رجع إلى الإسلام بعد ذلك لا يكون صومه صحيحا. If he comes back to Islam after that apostasy, his fasting on that day won't be valid. لا يكون صومه صحيحا فلماذا يجب عليه أن يمسك? So why is it obligatory on him to refrain? لحرمة الوقت. Out of time, honoring the time. لأنه رمضان. المعنى هنا أن الإنسان إذا كان يصوم صوما واجبا. The meaning here is that if a person was fasting an obligatory fast, خارج رمضان, outside of Ramadan, ثم ارتد مثلا, then for example he committed apostasy, فأفسد صومه الواجب, and so he invalidated his obligatory fast, الذي هو خارج رمضان, his fast which is outside of Ramadan. لا يجب عليه أن يمسك إذا رجع إلى الإسلام. It wouldn't be obligatory on him to continue refraining from whatever breaks the fast if he comes back to Islam. لأنه ليس في رمضان, because he's not in Ramadan. قال ويبطل بها أيضا التيمم بخلاف الوضوء. He said also tayammum is invalidated by apostasy as opposed to the wudu. لحرمة الوقت يمسك بعد أن يعود إلى الإسلام لحرمة الوقت. لا ليس من الكتاب. That's not from the book. The book says فصل ويبطل بالردة الصوم ويجب عليه الرجوع فورا إلى الإسلام والإمساك باقي النهار عن المفطرات أو المفطرات وقضاء هذا اليوم فورا بعد العيد. That's what's in the book. ويبطل بها أيضا التيمم بخلاف الوضوء. And also it's obligatory on the person. Also apostasy invalidates tayammum, or also tayammum is invalidated by apostasy as opposed to wudu. Wudu is not invalidated by apostasy. وَالنِّكَاحُ قَبْلَ الدُّخُولِ, and marriage before consummation. أي ويبطل عقد النكاح به إذا ارتد أحدهما قبل بناء الزوج بالزوجة. Meaning, the marriage contract between the two spouses is invalidated if one of them apostatizes before the husband deflowers his wife or has intercourse with his wife. And deflower, that kind of, not deflower, before he has intercourse with his wife, to say it like that. A, دخوله بها, before he has intercourse with his wife. وكذا يبطل عقد النكاح بالردة بعده, أي بعد الدخول. Likewise, apostasy invalidates the marriage contract after consummation. إن حصلت الردة من أحد الزوجين ولم يعد الذي ارتد منهما إلى الإسلام في العدة. Apostasy took place from one of the two spouses, and that spouse did not come back to Islam before the iddah period. أي قبل انتهائها, meaning before the iddah expires. فإذا ارتد الزوج أو امرأته بعد الدخول صار نكاحهما موقوفا. And so, if the husband apostatizes or his wife after consummation, that means after sexual intercourse, then their marriage contract is suspended. Hold your questions please. يعني من له سؤال فلينتظر من فضلكم حتى أعطيكم للسؤال. Whoever has a question, please hold your questions until I give you a chance to ask. من فضلكم, if you don't mind. Thank you. So if the husband or his wife apostatizes after the marriage is consummated, after dukhul, then their marriage is suspended. وانتبهوا إلى هذه المسألة لأن بعض إخواننا وبعض الناس لا يفهمون هذه المسألة على وجهها. Pay attention to this case because some of our brothers and some of the people do not understand this case properly. صار نكاحهما موقوفا. Their marriage is suspended, not invalidated. If the marriage is consummated, don't, and then one of the spouses commits apostasy, don't say their marriage is invalidated. لا تقولوا إذا دخل الزوج بزوجته ثم ارتد واحد منهما أن النكاح باطل. لا تقولوا هذا. Don't say that. هذا التعبير خطأ. This expression is wrong. بل قولوا موقوف. Say their marriage is suspended. ولا يحل لهما الجماع استمتاع أحدهما بالآخر أحدهما بالآخر. And it is not permissible for them to have sexual intercourse, nor is it permissible for them to have any other physical relations, for them to enjoy each other, to have any other physical relations that's less than sexual intercourse. فإذا رجع الذي ارتد منهما إلى الإسلام قبل مضي العدة. So if the one who committed apostasy comes back to Islam before the iddah is over, تبين أن العقد ما زال قائما بينهما. It becomes clear that the marriage contract between them never ceased to be valid. وأما إن لم يرجع إلى الإسلام. However, if that one did not come back to Islam إلا بعد انتهاء العدة, except after the expiration of the iddah, فيتبين عندئذ أن العقد بينهما قد انفسخ من حين الردة. Then it becomes clear that the marriage contract between them was invalidated from the moment of apostasy. طيب ونحن تكلمنا في هذه المسألة فيما مضى. We spoke about this case in previous lessons. فافهموها, so understand it. الزوجان إن لم يحصل دخول بينهما ثم ارتد أحدهما انفسخ نكاحهما. If two people got married and they did not consummate the marriage, then apostasy took place between them. One of them committed apostasy, then their marriage contract is invalidated, period. No detail. أما إذا حصل الدخول بينهما. However, if there was consummation between them, ثم ارتد واحد منهما, then one of them committed apostasy, فنكاحهما موقوف ليس باطلا, then their marriage contract is suspended, not invalidated. فإذا رجع المرتد إلى الإسلام قبل انقضاء العدة, if the apostate comes back to Islam before the expiration of the iddah, تبين أن العقد ما زال صحيحا منذ حين الردة. It becomes clear that the marriage contract stayed valid since the moment of the apostasy. It was valid since the moment of the apostasy. It was never invalidated. لم يبطل. وإن لم يرجع إلى الإسلام, if he didn't come back to Islam, whoever it was that apostatized, تبين أن العقد انفسخ منذ الردة. It becomes clear that their marriage contract was invalidated from the moment of the apostasy. فيكون موقوفا قبل التبين. So the marriage contract will be suspended before the clarification. هذا الزوج يعني الرجل أو المرأة ارتد. One of the spouses apostatized. بعد الدخول, after consummation of the marriage. الآن ما حال نكاحهما? What is the status of their marriage? لم يتبين. It's not clear yet. فهو موقوف. It's suspended. فإذا رجع قبل انقضاء العدة يتبين أنه لم يبطل, لم ينفسخ. If the apostate comes back to Islam before the iddah expires, it becomes clear that the contract was never invalidated. وإن لم يرجع إلا بعد دخول العدة إلا بعد انقضاء العدة, and if that one did not come back to Islam except after the iddah, أو لم يرجع, or didn't come back to Islam, تبين بعد انقضاء العدة أن العقد كان باطلا منذ الردة. Then, and if that one never came back to Islam or didn't come back to Islam until after the iddah was over, it becomes clear then that the marriage contract was invalidated from the moment of apostasy. هل من سؤال? Is there any question? الحمد لله. يا الله. طيب, فمن له سؤال, من كان له سؤال فليكتب سؤاله لكن لا يظهره. Whoever has a question, let him write it, but let him not post it. حتى أعطي فرصة للأسئلة, until I give you a chance to ask questions. ثم عندما أعطي هذه الفرصة تسألون بسرعة. Then when I give the chance for questions, you can ask me. وأجيبها إن شاء الله أجيب عليها إن شاء الله تبارك وتعالى. And then I will answer them quickly إن شاء الله تبارك وتعالى. طيب نكمل. قال ولا يصح عقد نكاحه أي المرتد لا على مسلمة ولا على غيرها. And the apostate's marriage is not valid, neither with a Muslimah nor with anyone else. Lahva, hold on 1 second, please. وتحرم ذبيحته أي لا يجوز أكلها, and his slaughter is forbidden, meaning it is not permissible to eat from it. وَلَوْ ذَبَحَ كَمَا يَذْبَحُ الْمُسْلِمُونَ, even if he slaughters the way the Muslims slaughter. وَلَا يَرِثُ من يموت من أقاربه المسلمين, and he does not inherit from whoever dies among his Muslim relatives. ولا يورث, and no one inherits from him. أي لا يرثه أقاربه المسلمون إذا مات مرتدا, meaning his Muslim relatives do not inherit from him if he dies. بل يكون ماله شيئا, rather his money goes to the Muslim treasury. يصرف في مصاريفه التي عينها الشرع, it will be spent in the ways that the religious law has specified. ولا يجوز أن يصلى عليه, and it is not permissible that he would be prayed for. عندئذ, يعني if he dies. ولا أن تطلب له الرحمة أو المغفرة, nor for any mercy or forgiveness to be sought for him. لأن هذا تكذيب لكتاب الله, because this is belying the book of Allah, contradicting the book of Allah, meaning that's kufr. ولا يجوز أن يدفن في مقابر المسلمين, and it is not permissible excuse me, that he would be buried in the Muslim cemeteries, لأنه ليس منهم, because he's not one of them. والله أعلم. That's the end of that section. Allah knows best. Any question? هل من سؤال؟ طيب نكمل إن شاء الله. قال المؤلف رحمه الله باب الطهارة. The author, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, chapter of purification. فصل, section, علامات البلوغ أي العلامات التي يعرف بها بلوغ الذكر أو الأنثى ثلاث. The signs of puberty, meaning the signs by which the puberty of the male and the female is known are three. إذا وجدت واحدة منها حكم بالبلوغ. If even one of them is found, then person is judged as having reached puberty. وَلَوْ لَمْ يُوجَدْ غَيْرُهَا, even if none of the others are existing. تمام 15 سنة سنة قمرية, the completion of 15 lunar years. معناه أنه شرع في السادسة عشر العشرة في السادسة العشرة. The completion of 15 lunar years means that he's actually now starting the 16th year. He's starting the 16th year. That's what we mean. He completed 15 years, he or she. It means that person is now starting the 16th year. والاحتلام بخروج مني الشخص نفسه منه. And the wet dream. That's the second one, يعني. Which is the exiting of the person's own seminal or ejaculated fluid coming out. The person's own ejaculated fluid. And سأسميه ejaculated fluid. I'm going to call it ejaculated fluid. بدلا من semen. Instead of calling it semen, instead of calling it semen, I'm going to call it ejaculated fluid. حتى يشمل مني الرجل ومني المرأة, so that it would include both the ejaculated fluid of the man and the ejaculated fluid of the woman. فإني إذا قلت بالإنجليزي semen لا يشمل ما يتدفق من المرأة. If I call it semen in English, it won't include that which is ejaculated from the woman. سأسميه ejaculated fluid. So I'm going to just call it ejaculated fluid. لاحظتم أنني قلت كما قال هنا بخروج مني الشخص نفسه منه, by the exiting of the person's own ejaculated fluid. The person's own fluid came out of him. هذا ليخرج خروج مني غيره منه. That is to exclude, it's worded like that, to exclude the exiting of someone else's ejaculated fluid coming out of the person. كيف هذا? How would that be? ربما لا يتصور ذلك واحد منكم. Maybe there's someone here who cannot conceive that. كيف يخرج مني غيره من الشخص? How would someone else's ejaculated fluid come out of the person? قد يحصل الآن لا ندخل في ذلك. It could happen, now we won't go through it. لكن أخذتم القاعدة, but you took the rule now. وإن لم تفهموها, even if you didn't understand it. ثم إذا أتى السؤال ستفهمون وتجيبون. Then if the question comes to you, you will understand at that moment and give the person the answer. الإنسان يأتيك يقول خرج مني مني غيري, fluid came out of me. تقول له حكمه كذا وكذا. Then you say, the judgment is such and such. وهاتان العلامتان تكونان في الذكر والأنثى. These two signs exist in males and females. Which two signs? Completing 15 lunar years and having ejaculated fluid come out. وقولنا الاحتلام يعني ليس شرطا أن يكون نائما حينما يخرج. When we said ihtilam or wet dream, when we translated that as having a wet dream, it's not actually that the person would be asleep when the ejaculated fluid comes out. إنما خروجه يعني نريد بهذا الكلام نفس الخروج. What we're talking about is the exiting of that ejaculated self. نائما كان أم مستيقظا. Whether the person was sleeping or woke. ولكن كما تعرفون هذا يحصل كثيرا عند النوم. Like you know though, it happens a lot while the person is sleeping. يكون ينام الولد يستيقظ بالغا. He goes to sleep as a child, he wakes up pubescent. وأما العلامة الثالثة للبلوغ وهي الحيض فلا تكون إلا في الأنثى. As for the third sign of puberty, which is menstruation, it only exists in the female. كل ما تكون ل9 سنين قمرية تقريبا. The earliest it would appear, the earliest it would happen is at 9 lunar years approximately. 9 lunar years approximately, which is about 8.5 years old. فإن رأت دما في 8 أو 7 فهو دم علة لا حيض. If she saw blood at 8 years old or 7 years old, then this is blood from some defect, not menstruation. وَلَيْسَ لَهُ أَحْكَامُهُ. It does not have the rules, the judgments of menstruation. ومعنى تقريبا هنا, the meaning of approximately here is أن يظهر هذا الدم قبل أن تبلغ 9 سنين ب15 يوما أو أقل. It means for the blood to appear before she becomes 9 years old, 9 lunar years old, by 15 days. هكذا الحكم. This is the judgment. If she's not 9 lunar years yet, but she will be in 15 days or less than 15 days, and she saw blood, then this is menstruation. لماذا؟ Why? هذا كلام يعني هذا درس آخر لا ندخل في class. يعني that's another issue. We won't go into it now. يكفيكم الحكم. The ruling is enough for you for now. خذوه وعملوا به. وإذا أتاكم السؤال فأجيبوا على ما قلت لكم. Take it now and work according to it, and if someone asks you, then give them the answer. الجواب سهل. The answer is very easy. إذا رأت الدم قبل 9 سنين ب15 يوما أو أقل فهذا حيض وإلا فلا. If she saw blood before reaching 9 lunar years by 15 days or less, then it's menstrual blood. If not, if not 15 days or less, then it's not menstrual blood. If it's 16 days or more before she becomes 9 years old, then it's not menstrual blood. لماذا? Why? هذا لا ندخل فيه. We won't go into it now. يكفيكم الحكم. Right now the judgment is enough for you. علته شيء آخر. The reasoning behind the judgment is another issue. وليس شرطا يا إخواني أن تفهموا أن تأخذوا حكما أن تعلموا العلة خلفه. It's not a condition for you to take a judgment that you know the reasoning behind it. ليس شرطا. This is not a condition. هناك أحكام كثيرة لا نعلم العلل لها. There are many judgments we don't know their reasoning. لكننا نفهم الأحكام ونعمل بها. However, we do understand those rules and we work according to them. أحيانا نعلم العلة وأحيانا لا نعلم. Sometimes we know the reasoning behind them and sometimes we don't. وإن كنتم علمتم هذه العلة, and if you knew the reasoning behind judgment, ليس شرطا أن تذكروها في كل درس. It's not a condition for you to mention them in every lesson. المبتدئ لا يحتمل تفاصيل كثيرة. The beginner cannot bear lots of details. وهذا علم الحال. This is the immediate knowledge. فإذا كنتم تدرسون هذا الكتاب فليس هذا الكتاب محلا للتفصيل. Then if you were teaching this book, then this book is not the place for details. كما ترون نحن نمشي بسرعة. من أخذ المختصر علم أننا نذكر أشياء كثيرة. حقيقة نذكر أشياء كثيرة إلا أننا نذكرها بكلمات قليلة وبلا تفصيل. Except the one who took the mukhtasar knows that we're really mentioning a lot of stuff, but we're only saying it with very few words and without details. حتى يتعلم المبتدئ بسرعة ثم نبدأ معه بالمختصر. So that the beginner will learn quickly and then we will start with teaching him the mukhtasar. ونكون نستطيع أن ندرسه برفق ولين, and we'll be able to teach him the mukhtasar easily. And وأن نأخذ, we can take our time. We don't have to rush. Say, oh, this guy has to learn all the obligatory knowledge. لا, ندرسه هذا بسرعة ثم بعد ذلك نبدأ بالمختصر. على مهل. Then we will teach him this immediate knowledge, and then after that we'll teach him the mukhtasar, with some, without having to rush. وأما الصبي فلا يكون بالغا قبل تمام 9 سنين. As for the boy, he won't be pubescent before 9 lunar years. إذا خرج شيء يشبه المني قبل 9 سنين تحديدا, ليس تقريبا, تحديدا. If something that resembles semen comes out of a boy before he becomes exactly 9 lunar years, لا نحكم ببلوغه. We do not consider him as pubescent. But the الصبي يكون بالتحديد. In the case of the boy, he reaches puberty no earlier than 9 lunar years exactly. وفي المرأة يعني بالتقريب. In reference to the girl, the الصبية, in reference to the girl, it's approximate. 9 lunar years, approximately, because it could be a little bit before 9 lunar years. هل من سؤال? Is there any question? Okay. قال المؤلف رحمه الله فصل. The author, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, section. يجب الاستنجاء من كل ملوث خارج من أحد السبيلين القبل والدبر. It is obligatory to make istinja from every staining filth that exits one of the two private parts, whether the front private part or the back private part. وهو إزالة الأذى عن المخرج بعد قضاء الحاجة. Istinja is the removal of filth from its exit after going to the bath. وهو جائز بالماء وحده, and it is permissible to be done by mere water. ويجوز كذلك بالحجر, and it is also valid to be done by stone وحده only. أو بما هو في معناه, or by whatever has the meaning of the stone, whatever is like the stone. كالورق القالع, like an uprooting paper or an uprooting leaf. وَالْأَفْضَلُ أَنْ يَجْمَعَ بَيْنَهُمَا, and the best is to merge between the two of them, the water and the stone. فَيَسْتَنْجِي أَوَّلًا بِالْحَجَرِ ثُمَّ يُتْبِعُهُ بِالْمَاءِ. So he makes istinja first by the stone, and then he follows that up with water. هذا عكس ما قد يتخيله الإنسان. This is the opposite of what a person might imagine. لأنه يظن أنه يستعمل الماء أولا ثم يتبعه بماء بالحجر أو بالورقة حتى يجف. The person might imagine in his mind that first he uses water. It's the opposite of what a person might imagine. He might imagine that first he should use water for istinja, to remove the urine or feces, and then follow it up so that the spot can be dried. وهو ليس هكذا. السنة هنا هو أن يمسح أولا ثم أن يتبع ذلك بالماء. هذا إذا أراد الجمع بينهما, بين المسح والماء. What is recommended if the person wants to wipe and use water is to wipe first and then use water. ليس أن يستعمل الماء ثم أن يمسح. Not for him to use the water and then wipe. هذا why لا ندخل في ذلك الآن. We won't go into that. لكن هذا الحكم. This is the judgment though. وفهمه سهل, and it's easy to understand. وإن لم illah, even if you didn't know the reasoning behind that judgment. Al-hukm shay' wal-illah shay' akhar. The judgment is one thing, the reasoning is another thing. يمكن فهم الحكم بدون معرفة العلة. It is possible to understand a ruling without knowing the reasoning behind it. وبدون معرفة الدليل, and without even knowing the proof behind it. الحكم شيء. The judgment is one thing. والعلة شيء. The reasoning is another thing. والدليل شيء. And the evidence is another thing also. هذه ثلاثة أشياء. يكفيكم الحكم. The judgment is enough for you. هكذا يتعلم الإنسان تعلما يعني صحيحا جيدا قويا. This is how a person learns in a correct, good, strong manner. يتعلم الأحكام. He learns the rules. ليس أنه من أول أمره يتعلم الأحكام مع العلل والأدلة. Not that from the beginning he learns the rules with their reasonings and their proofs. لا. وليس في هذا عيب. And there's nothing wrong with this, what I'm describing to you. هناك من لا يريد أن يتعلم شيئا إلا وتعلم الأدلة معه. There's some people, they don't want to learn anything unless they learn the proof with it. وهؤلاء لن يفهموا كثيرا. Those people won't understand a lot. Will not understand a lot. مع أنه الإنسان إذا فقط سمع هذا أو قيل له أن لا يأخذ شيئا إلا وأخذ الدليل معه. Even if a person, he might hear this, to not take anything unless he got the proof with it. قد يظن أن هذا نعم قوي هذا يعني هذا صحيح صواب. He might think, yeah, that's right. لكن ليس قويا. But in reality it's not strong. بل القوي أن يتعلم الأحكام أولا. What is strong is to first learn the proofs, the rules. To first learn the rules. ثم يكون سبحان الله يكون بذلك له علم. Then he will have knowledge, this person. وإن لم يكن عنده أدلة, even if he didn't have lots of proofs. يكون عنده أحكام. He has rules. هذا أهم. That's more important. Recommended, not obligatory. Recommended. You said, I didn't hear too well. Is it recommended or obligatory to wipe then use water? Recommended. Yani it's enough to do even just one. He doesn't have to wipe and use water. He doesn't have to use water and wipe. It's enough to just use water. It's enough to just wipe. So doing both is what? Recommended. قال وشروط إجزاء الحجر ستة. He said the conditions for the stone to be sufficient, there are 6 conditions for the stone to be sufficient. أن يكون بثلاثة أحجار, that it would be by 3 stones. على الأقل 3 stones minimum. ولو كفى ما دون ذلك للإلقاء, even if what is less than 3 stones is enough to clear the area of the field. He still has to do 3, even if one, for example, one white, 1 stone, or 2 stones cleared the area, the person still has to do 3 anyway. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, وَلْيَسْتَنْجِ بِثَلَاثِ حَجَرَاتٍ, which means let him make istinja with 3 stones. It's not part of the book, but so it has to be 3. Yes, sunnah to do both. بحجر له 3 أطراف. How's the voice? How's the voice? How's the voice? Okay. أو بحجر له 3 أطراف, or by a stone that has 3 sides. ينقي بها المحل. By those 3 sides, the place can be cleared. أي فتجزئ 3 إن كفت لإنقاء المحل وإلا زيد عليها إلى إنقاء. Meaning, the 3 is enough. Is sufficient if it clarifies the space, if it clears the space, or else the person must wipe more than 3 times until, and needs to add to those wipes, yani a 4th wipe, a 5th wipe, until the spot is cleared. وهنا يعبر بالنقاء. Here, the author is using the word niqa. يعني قد يترجم هذا be purified, or purity, or pure. It could be translated as pure or purified. يعني الإنسان يمسح ما في معناه إذا أراد الاستنجاء له أن يمسح. The person is allowed to make istinja by wiping. بالتفصيل الذي ذكرناه, by the details that we mentioned. إلى أن ينقى المحل, until this. أنا الآن أقول cleared بالإنجليزي. Cleared. I'm saying until the spot is cleared. وأجتنب أن أقول until the spot is purified. I'm not saying a spot is purified. I'm refraining from saying that. لماذا؟ لأن المسح لا يطهر المحل. Wiping when making istinja does not purify the spot. إنما في الحقيقة يبقى متنجسا. In reality, that spot that one wiped without using water remains contaminated with najas. إلا أنه معفو عنه, except that it's excused. يعني يجوز له أن يصلي مع وجود هذه النجاسة. Meaning that it's permissible for the person to pray with while this najasa is existing on its body. فهناك فرق بين الماء والمسح. الذي استنجى بالماء طهر المحل. The one who makes istinja with water, he purifies the spot. يعني يزيل النجاسة بالماء. He's removing the filth with water. هذا يطهره. This purifies the spot. يذهب النجاسة. It makes the filth go away. فلا يكون عليه نجاسة. There won't be filth on him. إذا أزاله كاملا. If he got rid of all of it, there won't be any filth on him. أما المسح فلا يزيل النجاسة كله. As for wiping, it doesn't get rid of all of the filth إنما يترك أثرا. Rather, it does leave behind a trace. لأنه ما صب الماء, because he didn't pour water. وما حكم هذا الأثر? What is the judgment of this trace? معفو. It's excused. يجوز له أن يصلي معه مع وجوده عليه. It's permissible for the person to pray while that is on him. قال وألا يجف الخارج. He said, and that the exit does not dry. And it's one of the conditions for wiping. هذا من شروط المسح, من شروط الاستجمار, يعني الاستنجاء بالحجر أو ما في معناه. This is one of the conditions of wiping. ألا يجف الخارج, that the exit does not dry. فإنه إذا جف لم يكن بد من الماء. If the spot dries, if the exit dries, then it is necessary to use water. وألا ينتقل عن محل استقراره بعد الخروج, and that it does not go beyond, that the filth does not go beyond its place after coming out. وألا يطرأ عليه غيره, and that nothing foreign, no foreign fluid touches that spot, and that no foreign fluid touches that spot. كزيت وخل وماء غير مطهر له ورشاش خارج, like oil, vinegar, non-purifying water, and the spray of sweat, a spray of sweat or drip of sweat that's not from the private part. Sweat that's not from the private part. يعني الإنسان إذا استجمر, يعني إذا استنجى بالحجر يترك أثرا. The meaning here is that if the person makes istinja with a stone, he will leave a trace. أثر نجس, trace of filth. يكون معفوا عنه, it would be excused. يعني يجوز له أن يصلي مع وجود هذه النجاسة عليه. It would be permissible for him to pray while this najasa is on him. ولكن إذا طرأ عليه أجنبي يجب عليه أن يصب الماء, أن يستعمل الماء. But if something foreign, some fluid, foreign fluid gets on that spot where there was a trace left, it's obligatory on him then to use water. كزيت مخل, like oil or vinegar, ورشاش خارج, and like a spray of sweat that's not from the private part. يعني كأن قطر من رأسه عرق على, يعني وقع على آلته حيث استجمر. Like if a person, for example, sweat is dripping from his head and it fell on his private part where he made istinja by wiping. هذا الآن يجب عليه أن يستعمل الماء. Now it is obligatory on him to use water. العرق من ذلك الموضع, من ذلك المكان, فلا يزال معفوا عنه. As for the sweat of the private part, it's still excused. يعني إذا استجمر ثم وصل عرقه إلى هذا الموضع حيث يوجد الأثر لا يزال معفوا عنه. Meaning, if a person made and then he sweat, he made istinja by wiping and then he sweat, his private part sweat, and then the sweat of the private part reached or got at this point where there was the trace of najasa, it's still excused. لأن هذا ليس أجنبيا, because that's not foreign. هذا ليس أجنبيا, it's not foreign. أما الخل أو الزيت أو العرق من رأسه, as for vinegar or oil or the sweat from his head, هذا أجنبي, that's something foreign. فلا يكون معفوا عنه لابد من الماء. Then at that time it won't be excused, the person has to use water. وألا يجاوز الخارج من الدبر الصفحة أو من القبل الحشفة. وألا يجاوز الخارج من الدبر الصفحة أو من القبل الحشفة عند الرجل. وألا يصل إلى مدخل الذكر عند الأنثى. It is also a condition that whatever comes out of those private parts that for which the person is making istinja, that it does not go beyond the cheeks of the buttocks, nor does it go beyond the head of the penis in reference to the man, and nor does it reach the entrance of the vagina of the penis in reference to the man. Yeah. If the feces goes to the outside of the buttocks, meaning if you were to stand up, when the person stands up, his two buttocks cheeks come together, then if the najis is on the outside, if the feces is on the outside after standing up, then here the person must use water. If the urine goes beyond the head of the penis, then the person must use water for whatever went beyond the head of the penis. If the urine gets to the place where the penis enters the vagina of the woman, then she must use water. استنجاء. فيتعين الماء عندئذ في هذه الأحوال كلها. In these cases, all of these cases, the water is obligatory. ويشترط كذلك أن تكون الأحجار طاهرة. It is also a condition that the stones would be pure. فإن استنجى بروثة وحجرين مثلا لزم إتباعها بالماء. So if the person, for example, made istinja with a piece of feces and two stones, let's say a dry piece of dung and two stones, then he's obligated to use water after that because he put najis on his wet spot where he wants to make istinja. Is there any question? It says, in this case, with an excusable najasa for a male, can he have sexual intercourse with his wife like that? هذه النجاسة المعفوة عنها أو المعفو عنها هي للصلاة لا أعرف لغيرها. It is this when this najis is exempted, it is exempted for the prayer. I don't know it to be exempted for anything else. حتما لا يكون معفوا عنه للماء. It definitely is not excused for water. يعني إذا استنجى بالحجر وبقي الأثر ثم دخل في ماء قليل تنجس الماء. أو دعني أقول إذا استنجى بحجر. This is definitely not exporter. If a person made istinja with a stone or by wiping. مسح. استنجى بالمسح. He made istinja by wiping. وبقي أثر. And a trace of najasa remained. وصلى. And he prayed. تصح صلاته. His prayer is valid. ثم إذا دخل ماء قليلا تنجس الماء. But if he enters a little bit of water, all the water becomes contaminated. لأن هذا معفو في الصلاة لا في الماء. Because this is excused for the prayer, not for the water. أما للزوج لا أدري. يعني للزوجة للجماع مثلا لا أدري. As for sexual intercourse, يعني استنجى بالحجر ولم يستعمل الماء ثم أراد أن يدخل بزوجته, meaning if a person made istinja with stone or by wiping and he left a trace of najasa and then he wanted to have sexual intercourse with his wife, lam asma', I haven't heard. Nas'alu insha'Allah ta'ala. We can ask. We will ask insha'Allah. سؤال جيد. سؤال جيد. It's a good question. والأحوط أحسن في الدين. And the whatever is most precautious is better in religion. Doing what's most precautious is better in religion. Question: can I ask you a question pertaining to marriage, please? Is a question for the early part of class. I wanted to make sure I worded it properly before posting. Okay. Question: can you please repeat the last wording from the book? نعم. قال ويشترط كذلك أن تكون الأحجار طاهرة. It is also a condition that the stones would be pure. فإن استنجى بروثة وحجرين مثلا. So if he made istinja with dung and 2 stones, for example, لازم إتباعها بالماء. It is obligatory to follow that up with water. Ameen wa feekum. Question: I know that a Muslim man can marry a non-Muslim woman. Someone was told that she can be a blasphemer. So if she is a blasphemer before the time frame when the marriage can become not valid, and she stays a blasphemer during the marriage, la. La. No. كافرة إذا تزوج كتابية هي زوجته. If a man married a blasphemer, a Christian or Jewish woman, she's his wife. كفرها لا يبطل العقد. لا يبطل العقد. Her blasphemy does not invalidate the contract. Okay? Okay. قال المؤلف رحمه الله فصل. The author, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, section: فروض الوضوء أي أركانه التي لا يصح الوضوء مع ترك واحد ستة. The author, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, the obligations of wudu, meaning its integrals, without which wudu is not valid. If one leaves out any one of them, there are 6 in number. Al-awwalu niyyah, the first is the intention. وهي في العبادات قصد الشيء مقترنا بفعله. In the worships, the niyyah is intending something, is the intent of doing something while an intent of doing something which is associated with actual initiation of the deed. The intent of doing something that is associated with the deed. The intent that is associated with the initiation of the deed. Which is associated with the doing of the deed. Yani, for it to be a niyyah has to be with the deed, not before the deed. فَيَنْوِي بِهِ الْوُضُوءَ أَوَّلِ غَسْلِ الْوَجْهِ. And so one makes the intention of wudu with the first washing of the face. وَالثَّانِي غَسْلُ الْوَجْهِ جَمِيعِهِ. Second is to wash the face entirely. مِنْ مَنَابَةِ الشَّعْرِ إِلَى الذَّقَنِ. From the hairline to the chin. وَمِنَ الْأُذُنِ إِلَى الْأُذُنِ. And from the ear to the ear. وَالثَّالِثُ غَسْلُ الْيَدَيْنِ مَعَ الْمِرْفَقَيْنِ. The third is washing the hands up to the elbows. وَمَا عَلَيْهِمَا مِنْ شَعْرٍ وَسِلْعَةٍ. And whatever is upon them of or extra skin. كإصبع زائد مثلا, as an extra finger, for example. يجب عليه أن يغسله في الوضوء. He's obligated to wash it in wudu. والرابع مسح شيء من شعر الرأس أو جلده. The fourth is to wipe some of the hair of the head or the skin of the head. والخامس غسل الرجلين مع الكعبين. The fifth is to wash the 2 feet, including the ankles. وهما العظمان ناتئان في أسفل الساق. Which are the 2 bones that protrude at the bottom of the shin. لكل قدم نان. Each foot has 2. Each foot has 2 ankles. والثالث الترتيب. And the 6th is the order. في تطهير الأعضاء على ترتيب ذكرها في آية الوضوء. The 6th is the order, the sequence of purifying the organs according to the order they were mentioned in the ayah of wudu. هل من سؤال? Is there any question? Is it necessary to saturate the hair while wiping it? Not necessary. Oh, you say, what do you mean? Because you say like get it wet. Because if you're wiping it, of course you're wetting it, right? You're not just going to wipe it with a dry hand, right? So what's your question? To make it drip? Is that your question? No, it's not. We said wipe. Wipe the hair. So, for sure, if the person just has to wipe the hair, then to make it drip, means yani is much more than wiping, because you can't even make it drip if you just wipe, right? How would the person make the hair? How would the person make the hair drip by just wiping it? Just wipe it. That's it. Just wipe it. Take your hand is wet and you just wipe on your head. That's it. Wipe your head or your hair with a wet hand or something wet. That's it. Question, can you explain dangle? Do you mean if it dries? I never said anything about dangle. ما قلت. I said ankle. He has to wash his feet, including the ankles. Ankle, ankle, ankle. A-N-K-L-E. And then I said the ankle is two bones, وهما عظمان ناتئان في أسفل الساق. I said those are two bones that protrude at the bottom of the shin. And I said each foot has two. Each foot has two ankles. MashaAllah. No problem. Barakallahu feek. Does the same go for the beard? Does the same what? As in wiping it. الرجل إذا كثفت لحيته فيكفيه أن يمسح. If the man's beard is thick, it's enough for him to wipe over it. ومعناه أنه لا ترى بصرته خلالها. What's meant is that the hair, the skin is not seen beneath his beard. The skin beneath his beard is not seen at a normal conversation distance. وإلا فيجب عليه أن يوصل الماء البشرة تحت الشعر. Or else it would be obligatory on him to make the water reach the skin beneath his beard. آمين وإياكم. هل من سؤال آخر؟ Question, to make wudu and pray while traveling, the boots have to be above the... ما دخلت في الخف. هذا شيء آخر. إن شاء الله بعد ما أقول كل ما أريد أن أقول بعد ما أقرأ إن شاء الله. عندما أقول نقف هنا، هل من سؤال؟ إن شاء الله تسألون afterwards. Okay. وهل من سؤال آخر؟ Is there any other question? Can one wipe only part of the head during wudu? Naam. As we said, wiping some of the hair or the head, that means he doesn't have to wipe all of the hair or all of the head. So yes, he can wipe part of the head during wudu. He can wipe one hair while making wudu that's within the boundary of his head, or even a part of a hair. And he can wipe just a little bit of his head. Even if he has hair, he can wipe his head without wiping his hair. Question. You said, I saw once in the Musalla class you demonstrated running your hand to the back of your head and there was an indentation at the back of the head. It's good to wipe to that spot. Hey, لكن هذا ثمة لا ندخل في هذا. Now this is going to talk about يعني more than what's obligatory. هذا موضوعنا الآن علم الحال. What we're talking about now is the immediate knowledge. يعني من يحتاج الآن أن يتعلم ما يحتاج إليه حتى يطيع الله تعالى الآن. And what does the person need to know now? Obey Allah. من غير تفصيل, without any details. مع أنني فصلت في بعض الأمور لأنني أظن أنها يوجد حاجة في تلك المواضيع. Even though I did give some detail in few spots because I thought there needs to be a detail there. لكن من فضلكم لا تسألوني في أكثر مما أعطيت. But please don't give me more than what don't ask me for more than what I'm giving يعني. نحن نعلم أنه يوجد تفصيل أكثر مما أقول. We know there's more details than what I'm saying. لكن هذا يعني this is the point يعني. This is the point here. أننا الآن لا نريد أن ندخل في تفصيل. We don't want to even go into details now. And Rayhana, I'm not like focusing on you or anything. You benefited me with your question here. You're benefiting all of us, inshallah. الآن لا نريد أن ندخل في التفصيل. نريد أن ندرس علم الحال. We want to now study the immediate knowledge. Have mercy upon him, said section. نواقض الوضوء أربعة أشياء. There are 4 invalidators of wudu. How's the voice? How's the voice? There are 4 invalidators of wudu. Al-Khariju min qubulin aw dubur. Anything that comes out of the front private part or the back private part. معتادا كان كبول أو غير معتاد كحصى. Normal is like urine, and abnormal is like stones. إلا المني, except for the ejaculated fluid. فإنه لا ينقض الوضوء, for it does not invalidate the wudu. وإن أوجب الغسل, even though performing the ghusl obligatory. وغيبوبة العقل, and the loss of mind, بنوم أو غيره كالسكر, by sleep or other than sleep, such as drunkenness. وهنا تنبيه, here make a point, ليس من الكتاب, هذا زيادة. It's not from the book. Now what I'm saying, this is additional. السكر ليس معناه أن يعني إذا شرب الإنسان خمرا بسم الله. How's the voice? How's the voice? بسم الله. Okay. إذا شرب الإنسان خمرا فتأثر به, if a person drank wine and then was affected by it, معناه أنه ذهب عقله. It doesn't mean he lost his mind. فبعض الناس يظنون أن الذي شرب الخمر غاب عقله. Some people think that the one who drank wine lost his mind. لا, ليس شرطا, إنما قد يذهب عقله. He could lose his mind from drinking wine. لكن ليس بمجرد أنه تأثر بهذا الشرب أنه غاب عقله. The condition that because he is under the influence of this drink that he lost his mind. فقوله هنا وغيبوبة العقل بنوم أو غيره كالسكر, and the loss of mind or the absence of mind by sleep or otherwise, such as drunkenness, ليس معناه أنه بمجرد السكر يكون قد ذهب عقله غاب عقله. This does not mean that by merely drinking he lost his mind. ولا بأن يتعاطى شيئا آخر, nor if he takes something else. Also, if you take something else, ليس معناه أنه غاب عقله. أنا مرة تكلمت مع شيخ من المشايخ يزعم أن الذي يتعاطى الحشيش يذهب عقله. Once I had a discussion with one of the sheikhs who was saying that if a person took marijuana, he'll lose his mind. ليس صحيحا. It's not true. أنا لا أعرف حالا حصل هذا. I don't know any circumstance when that happened. Personally, I don't know. أنه ذهب عقله بشيء, that he lost his mind by this hashish, by the marijuana. فهذا يعني التأثر بهذه الأشياء ذهاب العقل شيئان مختلفان. Being under the influence of these things and actually losing the mind are two different things, two different matters. قد يكون تأثر بهذه الأشياء مع أن عقله ما زال. A person might be under the influence of something while he still has his mind. قد يكون يستطيع أن يسوق أن يبيع ويشتري, يعني maybe he can still drive, he can sell, he can buy. يستطيع أن إلى آخر ذلك, and do other things. فليس معناه أنه ذهب عقله. So it doesn't mean he lost his mind because he's under the influence of something. إلا نوم قال إلا نوم قاعد ممكن مقعده من مقره, except for the one who sleep while his buttocks is firmly planted while his buttocks is firmly planted. يعني قد يكون جالسا على كرسي أو على أرض أو على دابة. He could be sleeping on a chair, he could be sleeping on the ground, could be sleeping on an animal. كحصان مثلا, like he's sitting on a horse for example. وهو ممكن مقعده. He might be sitting on a horse while his buttocks is firmly planted. متوضئ نائم. He has wudu and he's sleeping. فيستيقظ وهو على هذه الحال. He wakes up and he's still like that. ما زال متوضئا. Then he still has wudu. والتقاء بشرتي ذكر وأجنبيين, and the meeting of the skin of a male and female, of a marriageable male and a marriageable female. أي بحيث يمس الجلد الجلد, meaning the skin touches the skin. إذا كان بحيث يشتهيان, if these two who touched both reached a stage at which they are desired من قبل أهل الطباع السليمة, by people who have normal taste, if you want, or if you want, people who have common sense or normal taste. I'm actually preferring the word normal taste over common sense, because normally when we say common sense, the one who doesn't have common sense, we think he's stupid or something, or he's acting foolishly. But also when someone doesn't have normal taste, he might think he's weird. لكن هنا أريد أن سأقول ما أريد لا أستطيع أن أخفيه. I will say what I want to say. I cannot keep it back. لأنه يجوز في ديننا أن يتزوج الواحد صغيرة. It's permissible in our religion for يجوز للكبير أن يتزوج الصغير. يعني قد يكون رجلا كبيرا وبنت صغيرة, وقد يكون امرأة كبيرة وصبي صغير. It's permissible in our religion for an adult to marry a child. Could be a man who marries a girl or a woman who marries a boy. فلا أريد أن أقول, لا أريد أن أفهم أحدا أن من فعل هذا ليس له common sense. I don't want to give the impression that the one who does that doesn't have common sense. ليس هذا ما أريد. فقوله هنا إذا كان بحيث يشتهيان من قبل أهل الطباع السليمة, that those two who touched each other skin to skin, their wudu will be broken if each one of them reached a stage at which they are normally desired by people with normal taste, if you want. Maybe that's still not the best word. It means that normally a person doesn't desire someone who's small. Even if he married that person, doesn't mean he desired them. Doing a marriage contract doesn't mean you desired the one you married. Normally, a person doesn't desire one who is, for example, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. So that's why I'm saying I use the word common sense, meaning something that's normal among the people or common between the people. But I don't want to give a bad impression about something or a misunderstanding. normal taste. فمثلا هناك نحن تعلمنا أنه من الأعراب من يأكل أي شيء ما رآه يدب على الأرض يأكله. We learned that among the Bedouins, the desert Arabs, are those who would eat anything. If anything they saw walking on the ground, they'll eat it. هذا طباع سليمة? Is this normal taste? ليس هكذا. Yeah. If normal taste is the good word. Maybe normal taste is still not the good word. It's not normal, yani. Not normal. It's the best thing I can think of. فقد يكون هناك من يشتهي بنتا صغيرة. No, socially accepted is not the word I'm looking for. Because هذا يختلف من مكان إلى مكان. This differs from place to place. هذا نحتاج نفهم هذا. We need to understand that. This is actually exactly what socially accepted is, the way we talk to people. If someone asks, how can someone who's an adult marry someone who's a child? You say, كيف هذا? How is that proper? We tell them you only found it strange because it's not accepted in your society. But in another society it is accepted and they don't find it strange. لكن هناك شيء في طباع الإنسان. There's something in the person's nature. We're talking about something in the nature of people that's normal. Something in their nature. And usually someone won't, for example, eat and walks by. ما يمر به يأكله. Anything that passed by him, he'll take it and eat it. This is ليس من الطباع السليمة. That's not from the normal nature of people. ولا أن يشتهي بنتا صغيرة, nor to desire a girl who's very small. ليس عادة, يعني ليس من الطباع السليمة. That's also not from the normal nature of people. حتى تكبر, يعني until she gets bigger. ثم تشتهى, then she will be desired after she gets bigger. والصبي كذلك, and the boy also. إذا كبر يشتهى, once he gets bigger he would be desired. كم, يعني مثلا 10 13 مثلا 10 years old, 13 years old. هنا يصير يشتهى, one would start to become desirable. قال بحيث يمس الجلد الجلد إذا كان بحيث يشتهيان من قبل أهل الطباع السليمة, in a way that the skin touches the skin, يعني the wudu would be broken if the skin touches the skin. If those two people reached a stage at which they are desired by people with normal nature. وَكَانَ الْمَسُّ مِنْ غَيْرِ حَائِلٍ, and the touch was without a barrier. فَلَا نَقْضَ بِمَسِّ بَشَرَةِ صَغِيرٍ أَوْ صَغِيرَةٍ لَا يُشْتَهَيَانِ. And so there is no invalidation of wudu by touching the skin of a little boy or a little girl that have not reached a stage of desirability. وَلَا بِمَسِّ مَحْرَمٍ, nor by touching a non-marriageable relative. وَلَا بِمَسِّ, nor is the wudu broken if there was a touch with a barrier, كَقُفَّاذ, like gloves. وَمَسُّ قُبُلِ الْآبِي, and also wudu is invalidated by touching the front private part of a human being, a ذَكَرِ الرَّجُلِ وَفَرُجِ الْمَرْأَةِ, meaning the penis of a man or the vagina of a woman, أو حلقة دبره, or the anus of the human being, وهي مخرج الغائط, and we mean here the exit of the feces, specifically ببطن الكف, with the inside of the hand, the inner palm, لا بظهره, not the outside of the hand, the backhand side, ولا بحرف الكف, nor the edge of the hand, ولا بما بين الأصابع, nor what is between the fingers, بلا حائل, if that's without a barrier, if that touch of the private parts with the inner part of the hand is without a barrier. والله تبارك وتعالى أعلم وأحكم. Allah Ta'ala knows best and is most wise. فمن كان له السؤال ولو كان خارج الدرس فليتفضل وليسأل. And so anyone who has a question, even if it's outside of the class, then let him ask. Let him ask. آمين وفيكم. إن شاء الله تعالى نكمل يوم الثلاثاء القادم. Inshallah, we'll continue next Tuesday, the coming Tuesday. Ameen wa fikum. Question: when is it permissible for a woman to travel outside the boundaries of her town without a mahram? If she has an excuse, like traveling to get obligatory knowledge that she cannot get in her own town, or traveling to find work, to get work, because she cannot get work in her own town. She needs work to survive and she can't get it in her own town. Then it's permissible for her to relocate, to travel to another town so that she can get work, so she can survive. And other cases also. Question: is it disliked for the man to wear a tie? Allahu a'lamu la adri. I do not know. Question: to make wudu and pray while traveling, the boots have to be above the ankle to be worn in prayer and can bend for the toes to bend? لم أتعلم أنه يشترط أنه ينحني. I haven't learned that it's a condition that the boot, that the shoe, the khuf, bends, or else he can't wipe on it. But it's conditioned for the validity of the salah to put the bottom of the toes. Yes, it has to be above the ankle, meaning it has to cover all of what needs to be washed in wudu. It has to cover all of what needs to be washed in wudu. And as for the toes bending, I never learned that this is a condition. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. You're welcome. Ameen wa fikum. I hope that everyone benefited, inshallah. Question: can the woman travel without a mahram from one city to another if she's traveling to meet her husband? Allahu A'lam. I don't know. I have to ask. Question: can you pray behind someone if you are not sure if their prayer is valid? Mm. I don't know. My answer to the tie was I don't know also. Question: the man who married a Christian or Jew woman, their children from this couple, can they inherit from the mother or not? The Muslim and the Kafir do not inherit from each other. The Muslim and the Kafir do not inherit from each other. MashaAllah, this is a nice booklet, huh? Question: can you pray behind a Wahhabi? It is valid to pray behind a person who has a deviant belief as long as he's not a kafir. But makruh, disliked, there's no reward in the prayer. الصلاة خلف المبتدع صحيحة مكروهة. The prayer, the salah, praying behind a heretic, a person with bad aqidah, is disliked. Better not to. How many pages is the book? It is 34 pages, and we're on page 16. Valid. The prayer behind the person with a deviant belief is valid and disliked. Better not to. Someone recently said, why is it not valid to use the acronym of SWT as opposed to writing the transliteration? Both are equally not valid representations of the Arabic text. Okay, but they're still not equal. They're not. From one point of view, there's something similar about between them, but from another point of view, there's something different, isn't there? You don't see there's something different between them? Okay. So tell that person. Because the person who's asking the question is acting like he didn't see any difference between them. Why is he acting like this? He don't see any difference between them? Because he wants to do the lazy way, that's why. So, like, I think, the way I would answer this question is to say to that person, when that person says, what's the difference between doing SWT and writing out Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, all with letters, and both of them are not in Arabic? Why you don't like this one, but you like this one? The employee who takes shortcuts and the employee who works harder. What's the difference between the employee who takes shortcuts? He wants to do the fast, easy job. And the employee who puts better effort and takes his time. That's the difference. The difference between them is the difference between the employee who likes shortcuts and the employee who takes his time and does the job well. The employee who takes shortcuts and wants the easy way out, and the employee who takes his time and does a good job is the difference between SWT and writing out Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which one is better? Question, why do some people wag their index finger during at-tahiyyat? I don't know. Question, if a person enters a store to buy meat and they think so many people have the wrong aqidah these days, it is possible that the one who slaughtered this meat had the wrong aqidah. Does this thought or doubt about the person's belief make the meat haram to eat? If a person is doubtful about the meat, he can't eat it. Question, because they said, why should it matter? Why shouldn't it matter? And the person is ignoring something that's very obvious though. They said, why should it matter which one we use when they are both not equal representations of the Arabic? I understand. But also, person, is there a difference between them or not? Make the person answer the question. Is there a difference between them or there's not a difference between them? Make the person say yes or no. Is there or is there not? If he says no, he's being stubborn. If he says yes, tell him, then the difference between them is like the difference between the worker who likes to do easy, quick work and have an easy way out, and the worker who likes to take his time and do a good job. I didn't hear that SWT is haram. I never learned that SWT is haram. Question, I've noticed that some people put their hands together when they come back from ruku'. Put their hands together when you mean like when they're standing, like in the standing position, when the person puts his right hand over his left? Allahu A'lam. I don't know. It's not from Shafi'i school as far as I know. I can't speak about any other madhab. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge to say that this is invalid or wrong or that it has no origin. Allahu A'lam. Let the one who does it produce his reference. Whoever did it, let him produce his reference. If he says, I don't know, that's how I learned, tell him, why don't you ask your teacher where he got it from? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Any other question? I'm glad we had a full session tonight, mashallah. What do some people say there are 3 tawheeds? Meaning why? Why do some people say there are 3 tawheeds? Because there's always going to be people who make stuff up. That's why. Why did the Shiites say that Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman, they all bum rushed Ali and took the rulership? Why did the Mu'tazila deny the Qadr? Why did the Karramiyya say that Allah sits on the throne? Why? And those people have no evidence, Muhammad. They don't have any proof. Why they said that? They followed their man. They followed their master. Question. Using either the acronym or the transliteration are both okay to use in the religion? I haven't heard that it's haram. If the person wants to take shortcuts, it's on them. Let the person take all the shortcuts he wants so he can see what he gets Yawm al-Qiyamah. If that's what he wants for himself, Yawm al-Qiyamah, then let him do it. It's his problem. He doesn't want to do the better job? Alayhi. That's the person, he's the one, that one who wants to write SWT and fight for it and battle for it and argue for it. He's the one who's going to buy everything cheap also, and then it's going to break on him so he can go buy it again. Instead of buying stuff with a better quality. He's the one who's going to do the sucky job so that he can do it again. His problem. هل من سؤال آخر؟ آمين وفيكم. Question. I bought some stuff I use for work called invisible glove. It is a protective hand coating on their hands, and what this does is it forms a thin layer or film on the hand, and the purpose of that is so that it makes it easy to seal, grease, and paint. Question is, would this be considered a barrier? Like, is it okay to shake hands with the opposite sex while wearing it? Someone said it's okay, but makruh. I want to be sure. Allahu a'lam. I don't even know what that stuff is. If it's a barrier, then it is. If it's not, I don't know. Allahu a'lam. آمين وفيكم. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. Is there another question? Going outside the boundaries of Safa and Marwa renders one's Hajj invalid? No, it renders the Sa'i invalid. One Sa'i will be invalid. If he doesn't make Sa'i between a Safa and a Marwa, then if his Sa'i is not valid, his Hajj won't be valid. What's the proof about this? Wa alaikum assalam. I tell you what, Mo, give me till Tuesday. If you don't mind, especially since we did 2 hours today and we're going over by a little bit of a considerable time. Insha'Allah ta'ala, let me look into it for you so I can give you some references. Ameen wa fi. So we'll stop here inshallah. Anyone else have any question then? Save it for Tuesday inshallah ta'ala. Ameen wa iyyakum. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم ارزقنا عينين هطالتين تبكيان الدمع من خشيتك من قبل أن يصير الدمع دما والأبراس جمرا. بارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.